First, I do want to start out. It is on a rather lower note, I do believe I could say, is that it's an animal cruelty case that we just got in this morning. So I want to start with that, and I'll go ahead and call up that image. Give me 1 second here. So, and I'll go ahead and get that information pulled up as well. Well, we learned this morning that a rescue owner has been arrested and charged with cruelty to non-livestock animals for neglect after the SPCA of Texas was granted custody of 10 dogs and 56 cats that were removed from a Van Zandt County property. Following an incomplete request for appeal at a civil custody hearing on Wednesday, June 11th of 2025 in the Van Zandt County Courthouse, Van Zandt County Judge Joshua Winters defaulted to the previous judgment awarding custody of 66 allegedly cruelly treated animals removed from a metal building owned by Haley Hull in Van Zandt County to the SPCA of Texas. The organization also was awarded over $22,000 in restitution. Now, Hull, who owns and runs Yelp for Help Animal Rescue, was arrested on Thursday, May 29th of 2025 and charged with cruelty to non-livestock animals for neglect. That is a Class A misdemeanor. She was booked into the Van Zandt County Jail, then released on a $10,000 bond. Now, I do want to warn you all the following information that I'm about to go in detail about is about animal abuse, and I do advise viewer discretion with this. So, like I said, viewer discretion advised. We're going to talk about animal abuse, and it does get pretty detailed. So if you have any little kids, make sure they're tucked away for this. Or if you're yourself like me, this is hard to read. So on Sunday, May 4th of 2025, the SPCA of Texas ACI unit was contacted by Noah's Paws Animal Rescue founder, Marcy McAlphin. And let me make sure that my email isn't breaking in there because I feel like you all could hear that. There we go. Now that's out of the way. Excuse me, I'm going to start that over. On Sunday, May 24th of 2025, SPCA of Texas ACI unit was contacted by Noah's Paws Animal Rescue founder Marcy McAlpin about an alleged animal cruelty situation at Hull's Animal Rescue. McAlpin reported that Hull, who worked with her as a veterinary technician, had asked her to care for her animals while Hull was out of town. However, she had not provided McAlpin with care instructions or medications for the sick animals. When McAlpin went inside the metal building on May 2nd, she observed that Hull had approximately 15 dogs and 47 cats confined in crates within a small room. Now, that next day, she notified the Van Zandt County Sheriff's Office, who responded on May 3rd, where McAlpin stated that many of the animals were malnourished and many of the cats were sick. McAlpin advised the ACI unit that she could not continue to care for these animals due to the unsanitary conditions and toxic ammonia inside the metal building. Well, on the morning of May 5th of 2025, the SPCA of Texas Animal Cruelty Investigations, also known as the ACI unit, along with the SPCA of Texas forensic veterinarian Sean Ashley, executed search and seizure warrants for the animals being kept at a property in Texas. The team removed 10 allegedly cruelly treated dogs and 56 allegedly cruelly treated cats from a metal building, which appeared to be abandoned on the property. The grass was overgrown and approximately knee height, with piles of rotting trash littered throughout the area. When approaching the metal building, the SPCA of Texas ACI team noted a distinct odor of ammonia consistent with that of an unnaturally large amount of animal urine and feces. Now, I do have pictures of that, and I want to go ahead and pull those up as well. So this is a picture of the space where those animals were being kept. Now, conditions in that metal building were deplorable with extremely high levels of ammonia. SPCA of Texas measured the ammonia level to be 50 parts per million inside the building. For point of reference, short-term exposure to any ammonia level over 20 ppm, which stands for per million, that parts per million, or long-term exposure to any level over 12 ppm can cause health problems in humans. So that was a very, very large amount of ammonia in the room. In the first room of the metal building, there were 10 dogs, 3 running loose and 7 confined to wire crates. There was urine and feces inside the crates and on the floor. Most of the dogs had diarrhea and were found positive for intestinal parasites and hookworms. The cats and dogs were also infested with fleas. The second room within the metal building was where the cats were being kept. They were stacked wire cages as well as large cat condo style enclosures in the room, but the doors to the cages were open, allowing the cats to roam freely. 56 cats were confined to this small area, and the ammonia level was higher, reading at 53 ppm. The litter boxes in the room were overflowing with urine and feces, and the cats had resorted to urinating and defecating directly onto the floor. The cats showed clinical signs of illness with varying severity, including coughing and sneezing, weeping eyes, discharge, and serious eye infections. 2 of the cats did not have eyes, which can occur when cats have severe untreated eye infections, causing the eye to rupture. At least 3 cats were lethargic, underweight, and appeared to have labored breathing. The youngest in the room, a kitten, had severe ear infection with pus oozing out of its ears. Some of the cats had signs of hair loss and irritated, scabby skin. The SPCA of Texas ACI unit determined the cats needed urgent medical attention. All the animals were transported to the SPCA of Texas Russell E. Dealey Animal Rescue Center, where they have been evaluated and are being cared for by medical and behavioral staff members. One of the cats, who was in liver failure when seized, succumbed to the illnesses. Now, I'm going to try this one more time to make sure you all aren't hearing my email. Taking a brief pause here. There it is. I knew that it was pulled up somewhere, just didn't know where it was pulled up, but there it is. So to continue on to that information, the we have a quote. That's where I'm at. We have a quote from the SPCA of Texas ACI Unit Chief Investigator Courtney Burns, who says, quote, "This case is a devastating example of how cruelty and neglect can hide in plain sight and why intervention is so critical. Thankfully, once removed from that toxic environment and given proper medical treatment and compassionate care, these animals began to recover remarkably well. We are deeply grateful to the Van Zandt County Sheriff's Office and the Van Zandt County District Attorney's Office for their swift support and commitment to justice for these animals. We also are thankful that a community leader stepped up to report suspected animal cruelty as it occurred. Please, if you see something that doesn't seem right or seems harmful to an animal, say something." End quote. I think we all can agree that these conditions are just absolutely horrific to see for any animal, for any living thing in general. So I'm glad that all of these animals are or have been rescued, and I really do hope for a speedy recovery for all 66 animals. And just kudos to those who had a part in rescuing these animals, and especially to that person who had the courage and the urge to speak up when they saw something of this manner. So like I said, that was a really, really horrible thing to see, but hopefully with a great outcome in over time, so that these animals, or when these animals recover and possibly are adopted out to their respective homes, if hopefully, fingers crossed, right? But